Concrete Island is a novel written by J.G. Ballard in 1974, and it's the third book in his unofficially dubbed disaster trilogy, Crash, This, and High Rise. The fact that he wrote these 3 books in 3 consecutive years is downright astounding. What an absolute talent. Okay, so our main character, Robert Maitland, at the beginning of the book, he's driving home from work, he's speeding, and his car skids, and he crashes into a traffic island between 3 converging roadways. If you're like me, you might be shell-shocked from Crash, and you might think that he'd get a big erection from this. But no, that is a different book. He's uninjured, but his Jaguar is totaled. But don't feel too bad for this guy, because he's kind of an asshole. He's a rich, deadbeat dad who's also actively cheating on his wife. But anyway, this is not your average 20-foot by 20-foot rectangular concrete island that he crashes into. It's comically large, and it's got a bunch of stuff in it. It's filled with abandoned cars, wild grass, an old air raid shelter, an abandoned cinema, and plenty more. It's almost like a deserted island, like jungle area. It starts off with him just sort of feeling out the island. He makes this half-ass effort to escape by climbing up the embankment and kind of like staring at cars, hoping that one of them will stop for him. But some debris flies off the road and it hits his leg, and his leg's injured, so he falls back down the embankment. And because of this, he kind of struggles to find the strength to escape. After a bit of meandering, he meets the other 2 characters of the novel, Jane and Proctor. Jane is this 20-ish-year-old woman who is a drifter, hippie type, and she cohabitates with Proctor, who's a severely mentally disabled man in his 50s. The book is about Maitland's time on the island as he tries to kind of leave, kind of not leave, while he's interacting with Jane and Proctor, sometimes amicably and other times contentiously. From my understanding of the book, the main theme is humanity's deviation from our primal instincts. And Maitland notices this very early on. Quote, "It was this will to survive, to dominate the island and harness its limited resources that now seemed a more important goal than escaping." Even right when he gets stranded, he's got this euphoric lightheadedness that he claims is like from carbon monoxide, but it's pretty clear that he just kind of likes the situation that he's in. He starts talking about how a lot of his favorite and best moments in his life were when he was alone, and now he's on this island stranded without his lovers, without his family, without his wife, etc. The island offers a simple challenge to Maitland. He's this high-level businessman. He has a secret mistress. He has a kid. Even though he's passively working towards escaping, he embraces the thrill of survival on the island. Going from extreme hunger to finding like a half-eaten sandwich thrown by some motorist on the side of the road, devouring that gives him so much satisfaction. Maitland even sometimes gets thoughts about his wife and his child and the meetings that he's missing, and then his injured leg starts conveniently throbbing, pulling him back into the moment. And I could absolutely connect with this style of primal, simplistic living. It reminds me of when you have a panic attack and you're just kind of coming out of it, and it's so satisfying to just have a glass of water or to take a few deep breaths. And this sort of primal positive feedback loop is something that Maitland really appreciates in the book, and I think is important in real life as well. This type of living, just plain old survival, is very one-track mind, and there's a level of simplicity that's very natural and very human to it. It makes simply surviving and the most basic of tasks satisfying. It actually reminds me a lot of the Unabomber Manifesto and his main thesis that humans are not meant to live the way that we're living right now, with all of its complexities, and that the return to simplicity is necessary for happiness. When I reviewed High Rise, I got this super thoughtful comment by someone named Ben Screever or something, Ben Screever on the Book Pill Discord. And what he said was really spot on for this book. He said, quote, "The way I see Ballard is that his central thesis is that humans are primal animals for whom civilization, technology, and social mores are a thin veil drawn over our true nature." Thanks, Ben. This all being said, I did not like some of the implications that Ballard made in his characterization of this theme of returning to primal living. Maitland is very abusive to Proctor, the severely mentally disabled man that's living on the island. And he uses this abuse to gain power over the island and its inhabitants. I initially read this as that it's very human nature to dominate and to ostracize and to abuse people for your own social progression. It's implied that Proctor has like this Stockholm Syndrome-esque craving for that sort of abuse, though. Quote, Proctor gazed at him with his craft, expectant eyes, almost as if he were waiting for Maitland to make a mistake. At times, he seemed to invite Maitland to beat him with the crutch, as if well aware of Maitland's calculated pleasure punishing him. And I admit this could have been just me not quite understanding it, because it's definitely written in Maitland's eyes, so maybe it's also just showing that some people are looking for any way to abuse a system, and he, in this instance, thinks that Proctor wants him to treat him like that, which is clearly not true. I'm not sure, but I kind of trust Ballard. Regardless, I want to give Ballard the benefit of the doubt, because I've read a few of his books now, and I've never seen a theme like that exactly. So I think that the takeaway might just be that some of the most evil of us will go through any means to dominate our surroundings. But still, Proctor is seen as this stupid, bumbling idiot. Maitland buys his service and his friendship in the book with just a single bottle of wine. That being said, especially with Maitland's history as a successful businessman, again, it could just be that Ballard is concluding that evil humans will use others to any degree to get ahead. I hesitate to conclude this, though, just a little bit, because while Jane treats Proctor better, she's no saint to him either. Another uncomfortable outcome is when Maitland has proclaimed his dominance over the island, and Jane just turns into somewhat of a domestic housewife, just taking care of the main character and having sex with him and making him food. And Maitland claims that she likes this. And again, this is uncomfortably close in my eyes to implying that women are drawn to housewifery as their most carnal instinct. But again, I don't see this traditional view as a theme in other of his books. So I'm not going to claim that Ballard has some traditional view on women or anything, but it's worth mentioning. When I heard about this book, I heard that it was fucking hell. When I heard about this book, I heard that it loosely paralleled The Tempest by Shakespeare. Now, I read The Tempest in middle school, so I remember tiny pieces of it, but I certainly don't know it well enough to make all the connections that the book implied. I think if I was going to recommend this book to someone, I would recommend like reading the plot summary on Wikipedia, perhaps, of The Tempest before reading Concrete Island. Because when I did that, after I read Concrete Island, I had some like aha moments, like Maitland's crutch and a few of the characters and some stuff like that. And I think that it would have been fun to have a bit more of this knowledge about The Tempest going into the book. There are certain connections to The Tempest that I'm sure that I did not understand or pick up on, and I'm sure someone more familiar with The Tempest would have enjoyed those allusions to it. I definitely wouldn't say it's required reading beforehand, but it was a little bit frustrating to read things and be like, I bet that has something to do with The Tempest. Speaking of things I don't get, I want to make it clear that I definitely did not understand the book to the degree that some of the more seasoned Ballard heads might have. A lot of the themes of the book felt not clear, like I was kind of just reaching out and grabbing air. One example is this repeat character of this white-haired, Jesus-like figure with a motorcycle. It showed up a few times and was one of those frustrating moments that I was like, I'm sure this is super brilliant and abstractly intellectual, but I just don't get it. Also, the whole subplot of Proctor being like some distinguished gymnast, I just did not get that. In the most surface level way, Concrete Island is still fun and enjoyable in terms of just watching Maitland try to leave the island. His inability to escape is kind of like watching the DVD loading screen where you're trying to see it hit the corner. It's like, oh, he's getting close to getting off the island. Oh, here he goes. Oh, he missed it. Oh, there he goes again. Damn, missed it. But yeah, it's just kind of fun trying to watch him leave. But it's ripe for analysis as well. Ever since I read The Book of the New Sun, I've thought a lot about the importance or the validity of rereading series or books and how much that affects the author's expected outcome of the text. And this is like the type of book that I feel like I would love to reread. It's super short and it's dense with metaphor and symbolic implications. But I'm sure that the more you know and love Ballard, the more you would get out of this book. It's classic Ballard. It's full of intricacy and it's all done in under 200 pages. Thanks for watching.